morning, Knights. It's Mrs. Hackensmith. Today is Thursday, May 14th. Yesterday we talked about main idea and details, and I hope that you were able to get that seesaw done or to get your paper done in your packet, and then you can show me your answers on seesaw, and then I will take a look at those. Today we're going to move on to fact and opinion. So you ask me, what is fact and opinion? All right, I'm going to show you a little poster on my video here. All right, so a fact is a statement that can be proven true. So a fact is something that is always true. For example, apples grow on trees. That is a fact that is true. You cannot change a fact. And then we have opinion. An opinion is a statement that describes how someone or something thinks or feels. They might use words like I think, I believe, I prefer, everyone should, the best thing, or they might just say, in my opinion. Here's an example of an opinion. Apples are delicious. Now you might be a person who doesn't care for apples and you don't agree with that opinion and you think apples are not delicious. So an opinion is something that somebody thinks. It is not always true for all people. Some people might not think the same way. And then a fact is something that can be proven to be true all the time. And that's what our story today is all about, fact and opinion. I'm going to read you a little story. All righty. So our story today is called Mr. Fact and Miss Opinion. All right. Mr. Fact was a man of good sense, who was simple and often quite tense. He lived on a road that was winding and red, with his dog Peanut, who liked to play dead. So there are a lot of facts here. He lived on a road that was red. Here's the red road. So that we can prove to be true. It was winding. This is a winding road. We can prove that to be true. Here's his dog, Peanut. He lives with Peanut. And right here we can prove that that's true because here's his dog. And Peanut likes to play dead. So here he is playing dead. So those are all facts about Mr. Fact. Those are things that can be proven to be true. Now, in the house next to his, which was bright green and black, lived a woman of 20 who would yakety yak. That means she talks a lot. Over the conversation, she took dominion. Her name finally suits her. She's Miss Opinion. Okay. Now, there are some facts here. Her house is green and black. We can prove that to be true. Green and black. Okay? So those are definitely facts. We can prove those to be true. When out and about on a fine sunny day, she saw her neighbor across the way. "Good morning," she said, full of spirit and glee. "A morning it is, but that's all that it be." So she says, "Good morning." And Mr. Fact says, "Yes, it is morning, but that's it." So when she says it's a good morning, that's her opinion. And Mr. Fact just says, "Yes, indeed, it is morning." It is proven that it is morning time. Why, Mr. Fact, has your day been sour? The sun's been up for only 1 hour. The sun is up, the sky color's blue. My day is not gone sour. I just say what is true. So she thinks he's having a bad day because he doesn't believe it's a good morning. And he just says, yes, the sun is up, the sky is blue. Those are two facts about the day. Because remember, he just says things that are factual or are true. Say what is true. I suppose that is wise. But what about beyond what you see with your eyes? No one need know what's beyond what I see. I share facts, only facts, and that simply is me. Beyond what he saw, Mr. Fact knew not, for he really was never subjective. His opinion was rare, and his thoughts were unshared. He preferred to always be objective. So the only thing he did was share factual information. He didn't share how he felt or what he thought about different things. Just what he saw, and he just called it like he saw it. Miss Opinion then replied in good nature, I'm glad to hear your morning's just fine. If it suits you tonight, would you join me to dine? You see, Miss Opinion thought her neighbor's words dreadful. How sad it must be to restrict one's thoughts to actuality. She'd show him the way to share his mind. She'd give him an earful and food that's sublime. Sublime means super duper duper good. So she's going to invite him to dinner. And she's going to make him see that there are other ways in the world than just always talking about factual. You can talk about what you think too. I suppose I could, he said happily, for eating alone was not his cup of tea. When shall I come? Say 6 or 7? I'll start cooking at 6, so bring yourself over at 7:11. And then here's our analog clock. So we can see that the hour hand is at the 7 and the minute hand is 11 minutes after 7. So we say it is 7:11. Throw a little math in our story today. When evening came, there was no time to waste. Miss Opinion was bustling all over the place. She had it all planned how she'd help Mr. Fact. She'd give him a meal that would make him snap. No words could express how good her food tasted. His feelings inside must come out and be stated. So she's going to make him such super duper delicious food that he's just simply going to have to share how he feels about it. Hello, she exclaimed as she opened the door. Please come on in. The food's on the table. Why, thank you, he said. Am I smelling basil? Yes, basil soup and rosemary bread. The best in the county, or so it's been said. So the best in the county. Do you think that's an opinion or a fact? Depends on who's saying it. I have quite a gift, Miss Opinion continued. My mom's recipes were left to me, but I've changed them a bit, so they're more savory, so that they are more delicious. What do you think Mr. Fact's going to come up with? Is he just going to state the facts, or is he going to give us some of his opinions? We'll have to wait and see. With that, Mr. Fact raised his spoon to his lips. He slurped up a mouthful so much that it dripped from his beard to his bowl, where he'd surely want more. It splashed with a blop and plopped on the floor. With a gulp and a grin, he picked up his bread and bit off the corner. His eyes lit up. His cheeks became plump. Miss Opinion could see her food won him. You think he's going to give the facts, or is he going to give some opinions too? Miss Opinion, he said with exuberant glee. I'm so glad you've asked me to dine. This food you've made is absolutely divine. The bread, so tasty, delectable, superb. The soup, so zesty, full of fine herbs. So if you were to make an inference, do you think he likes the food or he doesn't like the food? Yeah, I think if you react like this, you like the food. Oh, I'm so glad, Miss Opinion replied. It fills me with joy to hear you speak your mind. I knew there were more than just facts up in there, she said as she pointed at him with flair. Mr. Fact was inspired to think beyond facts, which softened his heart and helped him relax. How many of you thought he was going to give his opinion? Yeah, I did too. It wasn't long before he could say, "What a beautiful, lovely, fantastical day!" His words now expressed what he felt and could see. He could give his opinion. That made him feel free. Yeah, life would be kind of boring if all we talked about were facts. Life's a little bit more interesting when we fill it with our opinions, especially positive opinions. So yes, indeed, the fact was that it was morning. But his opinion was that it was a beautiful morning, a lovely morning, a fantastical morning. Those were his opinions about the day. All right. So that's what we're going to be talking about when we move over to the book camera. We're going to do some practice with fact and opinion. I'll meet you over there. Okay, so let's take a look at our matrix here for Thursday. We are supposed to watch the video about fact and opinion. We did that. We listened to the story. Now we're going to complete pages 7 and 8 in our reading packet. And then you can upload those to Seesaw if you are able to. But before we do that, I want to do a little practice with fact and opinion with you. I guess I only have one example here. I might have forgotten to photocopy the back side. I apologize. Pardon my finger. Alrighty, so let's take a look here at a fact and opinion paragraph about nesting dolls. Okay, what are nesting dolls? Here's a picture of them. All right, nesting dolls are sets of wooden dolls. I think they are very cute. You twist open each doll to find another smaller doll inside. These dolls were first made in Russia in 1890. Today, Major League Baseball teams are handing out these dolls. They are called stackable stars. Each doll is painted to look like a player on the team. Many fans collect the dolls. All right, so that paragraph had some facts, and it also had some opinions in it. Let's see if we can find them. So, write fact or opinion next to each sentence. Remember, a fact is something that is always true. You can prove it to be true. An opinion is something that somebody thinks. So somebody might think it's true and somebody else might not think it's true. All right, so let's read A. I think they are very cute. So looking at our dolls here, somebody thinks they're cute. Now, can that be proven to be true all the time? I don't think so. I personally don't think that they're very cute. So I know that this is an opinion. And I also see that word think. Remember, if you are thinking something, that is your opinion. So I'm going to put opinion here on the line. All right, look at letter B. Today, Major League Baseball teams are handing out these dolls. So we can go back up here to the story and we can find that exact sentence. So it is proven that today major baseball teams are handing out the dolls. It says right here in the text, and it's giving you a fact about what the baseball teams are doing. So this can be proven to be true. If it can be proven to be true, it is a fact. Okay, C. Many fans collect the dolls. So I'm going to go back to the text. I'm going to underline where it says that. So it says it in the text. Many fans collect the dolls. So that is something that we can prove. So it is indeed a fact. So the only opinion here is what you think about if they're cute or not. That is an opinion. Okay, number 2 says write another fact from the paragraph. So let's go back up here and let's reread it and let's underline some more facts. Nesting dolls are sets of wooden dolls. That is a fact. I think they are very cute. That is an opinion. You twist open each doll and find another smaller doll inside. We can prove that to be true. These dolls were first made in Russia in 1890. That has been proven to be true. They are called stackable stars. That is a fact. Each doll is painted to look like a player on the team. That is also a fact. So there's only one opinion in here, and that is the part where we talk about if they are cute or not. So the fact that I'm going to write about is they were first made in Russia. They were first made in Russia in 1890. Oops, sorry. There, now you can see it. Now, all I did was I copied the sentence right from the text. I didn't say these dolls, I said they, but they were first made in Russia in 1890. So, I have a capital letter at the beginning of my sentence. I have a period at the end of my sentence. I have a capital R on Russia because it's the name of a country. And I have all of my words spelled correctly because I copied it right from the text. If you are copying something right from the text, there is no way it should be misspelled. Okay, you need to take your time and you need to think about what you're writing and spell it correctly. Have capitalization at the beginning, punctuation at the end. Alrighty, so if we go to page 7 and 8 in our reading packet, at the top it says identifying fact and opinion. read the paragraph, and then follow the directions. So you are going to read about the big cat, and then you're going to answer questions 1 and 2 about fact and opinion, just like I did in my example with you. And then you're going to turn it over to page 8, and you're going to read about in the shell. You're going to read the paragraph, and you're going to answer the questions about fact and opinion, and then you're going to find another fact from the paragraph. Okay, so that is your reading assignment for today. You want to put these onto Seesaw and read me the answers? That is perfectly fine with me. I love that. Okay, now let's get our matrix back out and let's move on to math. Math for Thursday, May 14th says, do the guided practice numbers 1 through 3 on page 600 in your math packet. Tell a family member your answer to the talk math question. Okay, before we do that though, I'd like to go over yesterday's work. So, page 595, 596, let's go over our work that you did yesterday. So number 4, remember this is the analog clock and the digital clock, and the analog clock shows 1 o'clock. The hour hand is pointing at the 1 o'clock. There are no minutes past the hour. So we do the 00. There are no minutes. And we write it and say it as 1 o'clock. Remember, this means of the clock. It's an abbreviation. It's a shortened form, kind of like a contraction. Alrighty, number 5. The hour hand is pointing at the 8. The minute hand is on the 12. So we say it is 8 o'clock. No minutes past 8. 8 o'clock. Number 6. Both the hour hand and the minute hand are pointing at the 12. So that tells us that it is 12 o'clock. No minutes past the hour of 12. 12 o'clock. Okay, now it's your turn to write it on the analog clock and the digital clock. So they gave you the time 5 o'clock, and we did the hour hand pointing to the 5, but it doesn't touch the 5. And the minute hand goes all the way through the 12. And on the digital clock, we write that as 5 o'clock. Okay, number 8, 10 o'clock. The hour hand is the shorter hand. It points to the hour. The hour is 10. It goes to the number, but it does not touch the number. The long hand, the minute hand, goes all the way up through the number 12 to show that it is 10 o'clock. Number 9, 3 o'clock. My hour hand is the shorter hand. It points to the number 3, but it does not touch the number 3. The minute hand goes up to the 12 to show that there are no minutes after 3. It is 3 o'clock. Okay. Turn your paper over. Remember how we talked about how a clock can kind of be like a number line? You could straighten it out. Okay, Colin gets home at 3 o'clock. Evan gets home 1 hour later. That means after 3 o'clock. What time does Evan get home? If you started at 3 o'clock and you add an hour, that gets you 4 o'clock. Here is 4 o'clock on the analog clock. The shorthand points to the 4 but does not touch it. The minute hand goes up to the 12 to show that no minutes after 4 o'clock. Okay. Number 11, basketball practice starts at 4 o'clock. Mark eats a snack 2 hours before practice. What time does Mark eat his snack? So it's 4 o'clock now. We're going to count back 2 hours. So you start at 4, put 4 in your head, and count back 2. 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So Mark ate his snack at 2 o'clock. Okay. Number 12. It is 4 hours before 12 o'clock. What time is it if it is exactly on the hour? Show the time on the clock. So I'm going to put 12 into my head, and I'm going to count back 4 hours. So it's 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. If it's 12 o'clock now, 4 hours before would be 8 o'clock. And this is how you show 8 o'clock on the analog clock. The hour hand points to the 8 but does not touch it. The minute hand goes through the 12. This shows 8 o'clock. Okay. Now your right math says, what time is it when the hour hand is on the 5 and the minute hand is on the 12? Okay, so I've got my handy dandy clock here. I'm going to put my hour hand on the 5. Remember, my hour hand is my short one. And my minute hand is on the 12. That tells me it is 5 o'clock. So I wrote down 5 o'clock. And then it says, how do you know? The hour hand points to the hour and tells me the hour. The minute hand is on the 12, so that tells me that there are no minutes after the hour. So when the clock looks like this, that means 5 o'clock. All right. I hope you did well on that. Okay, so today it told us that we were going to do page 600. We're going to start with 599 first. We're going to do Math in My World. So get this out of your math packet and your pencil. All righty. Today we're going to talk about half past the hour. So here's our clock. It says use a clock to show 5 o'clock. Well, I happen to have my clock at 5 o'clock from the last one we did. Move the minute hand to the 6. Okay, so I'm going to move my minute hand down here to the 6. Okay. It says, what time is it? Well, it was just at 5 o'clock, and now it has gone halfway around the clock. So we say that it is half past the hour, or half past 5. Draw the hands to show the time. So let's show the hands of 5:30. Now there's something I want to show you here. When the minute hand is moving, so is the hour hand. They both move together, but the minute hand moves faster than the hour hand. So remember, this was at 5 o'clock. Okay. Now the minute hand has tooled all the way halfway around the clock, so it was moving pretty fast. And while that hand was moving, the hour hand was moving slowly, because it takes this whole amount of time for the hour hand to move from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So when it is half past 5, notice how the hour hand is halfway between the 5 and the 6. It's not pointing at the 5 anymore. So when it is half past 5, your hour hand points to the middle. So here's the middle right here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 minutes, or 5 of these little marks in between. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So here is halfway between. Okay? So you're going to draw your arrow for your hour hand. Oops, that's too long. Remember, it shouldn't go past the numbers. So we're going to go right here. That's my hour hand. And then my minute hand is going all the way down through the 6. Okay, so my minute hand is going to go all the way through the 6. Okay, now remember, I like you to be super neat when you're drawing your clocks. Make sure your pencil is nice and sharp. Alrighty, so this clock shows half past, and you go back to the number that we were talking about. We were talking about 5 o'clock because we haven't reached the 6 yet. So it is half past 5. So we're going to put 5 here. Half past 5. Okay? Does that make sense? Alrighty. Because we've gone halfway around the clock. Alright, turn your paper over. Look up here at the top at the guided practice. We're on 600. Okay. It says you can show time to the half hour. 1/2 hour is 30 minutes. All right, so let's take a look at that. So here's my clock. Let's start up here at 5 o'clock. Put my hour hand on the 5. All right, now, between each of these numbers is 5 minutes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So between each number is 5 minutes. So every time we move to a number, we can count by 5s. So let's do that. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So another way of saying half past 5, we could say 5:30. So we're going to count by 5s and see if that is true. So I'm going to move my minute hand. Remember, it goes to the first number, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Oops, my hour hand needs to be right there. Okay, so you have gone 30 minutes when you've gone halfway around the clock. And if we were to count all of these little dots, we would count 30 of them. But it's faster just to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So this is half past 5, or we can say 5:30. Half past 5 or 5 ... 30, because we have counted 30 minutes past the hour of 5. Does that make sense? Let's practice. Are you hearing my dogs moan and groan over? They're in the other room and they want to eat lunch, but it's not lunchtime yet, so you might be hearing them moan and groan. Just ignore them. Alrighty. So it says you can show the time to the half hour. 1/2 hour is 30 minutes. These clocks show half past 2. So you look at the hour hand. Now notice my hour hand is between the 2 and the 3. That's because the minute hand has gone halfway around the clock. So it's gone 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So here's my 30 minutes. So half past 2 can also be written as 2:30. Look over here at the digital clock. We read this as 2:30. That's how we tell the time. The hour hand points between the 2 and the 3. The minute hand points to the 6. So whenever you're writing something half past or 30 minutes after, don't forget to have that hour hand be halfway between the hour that it was and the next hour that it's going to be. helpful hint, the hour hand moves halfway to the next number as a half hour passes. So it takes a whole hour for our hour hand to move from the 2 to the 3. It moves rather slowly. But our minute hand moves rather fast. Alrighty, so let's take a look at a couple of these. Use the clock. Tell what time is shown and then write the time. Alrighty, so I'm going to show you on my clock here. This one looks like this. So the hour hand is halfway between the 9 and the 10, and the minute hand is on the 30. So what time do you think this is? Is it 9:30? Or is it 10:30? You should have said 9:30. It used to be 9 o'clock, and then the minute hand went halfway around. See how the hour hand is not at the 10 yet? It's on its way to the 10, but it's not there yet. So we say that this is 9:30. So 9:30. Another way to say it is 9:30. Okay? 9:30. Alrighty. 9:30 is kind of an old-fashioned way of saying it. It's like some of maybe your grandmas would say 9:30, but most of our parents would say 9:30. Excuse me. All right, let's look at number 2. Okay, so the hour hand is between the 1 and the 2. So what do you think the hour is? Was it 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock to begin with? And then our minute hand moved halfway. Okay, so remember, if it's between the 1 and the 2, you always go back to the number before. The hour hand has not reached the 2 because remember the clock moves this way. So it is still 1 o'clock, but we've got 30 minutes past 1, so we say it is 1:30 or 1:30. Okay, so when the minute hand is pointing to the 6, that is the 30, the halfway point. So this clock says 1:30. All right, let's look at our last clock. Okay, so the hour hand is between the 6 and the 7. I'm going to show that on my clock. There's my hour hand between the 6 and the 7. And here comes my minute hand pointing to the 6. So what time do you think it is? Remember, we're between the 6 and the 7. Have we hit 7 o'clock yet? Nope, we haven't hit 7 o'clock. We're working to get there, but we're still at the 6 o'clock hour. Okay, it has just moved halfway off of the 6. And when our minute hand is pointing to the 6, that means 30 minutes. So it is 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. Okay, does that make sense? So let's go back. Let's read the time. 9:30, 1:30, 6:30. Okay, look at your talk math. It is 8:30. Explain what 8:30 means. So here's my 8 o'clock. The hour hand's pointing at the 8. And it is now 8:30. So what does 8:30 mean? I want you to tell a family member what 8:30 means. And then what's another way to say 8:30? We could say 8:30. All right. So I want you to do your talk math with somebody in your family and then get your reading packet done and you are good to go for the day. All right, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye, guys.